The moment you realize a $5,000 loan sits in your account, unused while interest begins to accumulate, panic sets in. You feel compelled to immediately pay it back as an act of moral correction for this financial mistake. But here is the hard truth, that money already spent on interest cannot be recovered by paying down principal today. We are not dealing with a loss to fix. We are facing a sunk cost decision that dictates your current cash flow strategy. This specific scenario triggers what economists call the sunk cost fallacy, where past irrecoverable expenditures incorrectly dictate future actions. When you rush to pay off this unused loan immediately, you may be making an emotional reaction rather than a financial optimization. The optimal engineering approach treats the loan rate as a fixed system parameter to be compared against your current opportunity cost of capital. By reframing that wasted interest not as a loss, but as a sunk cost, we shift our decision matrix from recovering losses to optimizing liquidity for the future. Consider the mechanics of what actually happened in this situation. You took out $5,000 and paid fees or accrued interest without ever using the funds for consumption or investment returns. That specific amount of money is gone forever. It does not matter if you pay off the remaining balance tomorrow, next month, or over a year. That initial cost has already been consumed by time and rate structures. The only variable left to manage is your future cash flow allocation. If you treat this loan as a fixed cost rather than a loss to be fixed, you prevent suboptimal capital allocation driven by an emotional aversion to past expenses. The critical question becomes whether paying off the principal immediately creates more value for your household than keeping that surplus cash available in your savings or investment accounts. This is not about ignoring debt. It is about recognizing the trade-off between risk reduction and capital efficiency. When you pay down a low-interest loan early, you are essentially buying back your own leverage at a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate of that specific loan. However, if your alternative use for those funds generates a higher return elsewhere, paying off the debt immediately becomes a net negative decision in terms of wealth accumulation over time. Quick resource note: I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. To make this calculation correctly, we must look at the marginal utility of investing surplus funds versus the marginal utility of reducing leverage. For low-rate debt, often found in personal lines of credit or specific small business loans with favorable terms, the cost of borrowing is frequently lower than what a diversified portfolio might earn on an emergency fund or index investments over time. If you have $5,000 available to pay off this loan, but that same capital could be earning 4% annually while your loan charges only 3%, paying it off immediately creates a net loss in purchasing power. You are effectively accepting a guaranteed return of the interest rate by eliminating debt when you could potentially achieve a higher return elsewhere with comparable risk profiles. This architectural trade-off requires us to separate our emotional desire for zero debt from the mathematical reality of asset allocation. The sunk cost fallacy drives many viewers to retain assets or continue projects based on past expenditures rather than future utility. In this context, it manifests as an urge to fix a mistake by eliminating the liability, even when that action reduces your overall financial flexibility. By treating the unused loan interest as a sunk cost, you free yourself from the need to recover what is lost and allow you to focus on where every remaining dollar can work hardest for you right now. Imagine instead that you keep the cash in an account earning yield while making only minimum payments on the low-interest debt during this period of uncertainty. You have maintained liquidity, which acts as a buffer against unexpected expenses or job market shifts. If your financial situation changes and you need those funds quickly, having them liquid is far more valuable than being one payment ahead on a loan that does not stress your monthly budget. The decision to pay off a loan early is an architectural choice between lowering leverage and maximizing yield. The latter often wins in low-rate environments where the cost of capital remains below market averages for investment returns. We must also acknowledge that this strategy depends entirely on variable market rates and individual risk tolerance, factors that are not static but dynamic forces affecting your household decisions. If interest rates were to spike, or if you face a high probability of income disruption, holding cash becomes even more critical than the potential extra yield from investments might suggest. However, assuming stable conditions and a low interest rate on this specific $5,000 loan, the emotional impulse to wipe it out is often suboptimal compared to letting that capital compound elsewhere or serve as an emergency reserve. The key insight here is that your financial health is determined by future cash flows, not past expenditures. Worrying about interest already paid creates a psychological burden without altering the mathematical outcome of your net worth trajectory. By accepting that sunk cost and making decisions based on current opportunity costs, you align your actions with evidence-based financial principles rather than emotional reactivity. This approach ensures that every dollar in your portfolio is working toward your long-term goals rather than being sacrificed to pay for a mistake from last week. The choice before you now is not about which option feels better morally. It is about which path offers the superior mathematical outcome given your specific rate and investment horizon. If the loan interest is low, paying it off immediately often yields less value than investing that surplus or holding it as liquidity. This reframing transforms a moment of financial anxiety into a strategic opportunity to optimize your capital allocation for maximum efficiency moving forward. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.